Yo, this is the Queen Aziza Nubia, and I'm here with another episode of Hustle and Motivate podcast series where the hustlers come to motivate. I'm super excited about my guest this evening. This is Mr. Brandon Hill, and he has on his name In Fly We Trust. We're about to learn more about his business, what he does, and what has inspired his latest project that I was taken away by. So I know when you guys hear about all the amazing things that he's doing, you're definitely going to want to learn more. So how you doing today, Brandon?
Hey, I'm doing blessed and not even stressed. We over here manifesting from everything that we're doing. So it's been an amazing day, and I'm enjoying this 59-degree weather.
I love it today too. It's been feeling good. All right. So tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and let's start there.
So I'm Brandon from born and raised in Louisville. Been up here in Cincinnati for a bunch of years. This is really my second slash first home. And you know, um, I've known Aziza for a number of years, but just recently, the past year, I made a pivot into a field I never thought I would be doing. I make adult self-development coloring books. Um, and so I hadn't seen Aziza for about what 2, 3, 4 years maybe, and
Right.
saw her on Saturday night and out there hustling, slanging paper and pushing P, if you will. But on the P pushing is paper. And so it's crazy. The show's called Hustle and Motivate. My second coloring book is called Hustle and Motivate, in homage to Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle. So what I am now is I'm an artist. I'm a full-time artist. That's how I make my living. That's how I pay my bills. I make postcards, coloring books, and now we make artwork, and it's up in galleries and stuff like that in people's homes. Kind of crazy. And just recently, this past weekend, Sunday, we put out our first line of T-shirts. The business is growing. It's kind of wild and insane.
Wow. I think that's super dope. Like, guys, like he said, we actually ran into each other last weekend at the Sweet Sister Splash Afro Swag. He was a vendor. Of course, I was the marketing and branding manager for that event. So I was going around checking out the vendors, and I say, yo, hey. And I was shocked, y'all, because I've always known Brandon like with a camera in his hand and doing videos. So seeing him with these books, I'm telling you guys, the books are super amazing. I'm about to share his website here in a second so you guys can see it. Seeing the books, I was like, oh wow, this is super dope. I gotta have you on my podcast, especially when I seen the Hustle and Motivate coloring book. I said that is definitely an alignment, but I love what it's all about, not just an adult coloring book. It's something that really helps you do that spiritual work to cultivate
Mhm.
yourself. So, what Hustle and Motivate is all about tapping into who you are, taking your talents and your skills and your hustle and turning that into currency to support you and your family. And with his book, I definitely saw an opportunity to where people who are trying to unlock and trying to figure out who they are, what skills they have. Like your book, your coloring books is a dope guide to helping people tap into that subconscious. So I was just really blown away by that. So like getting into just the book, how did all of this come about?
I mean, it's crazy, right? Is that I never saw myself doing this a year ago, year and a half ago. But I went through a crazy time in my life from 2018 until 2021, a whole turmoil, tumultuous period of time. I had to make a decision that this was not going to break me down, it's going to build me up. But see, there's a quote I heard last year that says, when you lose everything, you have the opportunity to become anything. When you lose everything, you can become anything. And I had this time where I lost everything just about that was important to me, my whole identity almost. But what that allowed me to become is anything I thought I never could be. So I never saw myself being an illustrator, making coloring books. Like that was not going to be my life path. I didn't think so. But I remember sitting in December of 2020 talking to my daughter, and I looked at her and I said, I don't think I'm doing what God told me to do. Because she says, why? I said, because I'm broke and I'm struggling, and I feel like I shouldn't be struggling. I'm too smart. I'm too talented. I shouldn't be struggling. She said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I'm going to make postcards. She was like, postcards? I was like, yeah. And she says, that sounds stupid. And I was like, yeah, I know. So regardless of it, sometimes if I take something and roll with it, because I had art that I made before, but never really put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Went downtown, I ordered some paper from Amazon, went down to the Makerspace, Cincinnati downtown, the library, printed them joints out, cut them up, bagged them up, me and my daughter, put little bows around them, and went out on Kwanzaa, I think December 27th, 28th, and sold postcards. And we sold 4 postcards for $5, sold $7 worth of postcards. And it was a game changer. Because, you know, I've been in a service-based business for a long time, but having a product-based business is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so what happened is that I began to see that something was there. Now, I was not in the mind to be able to fully walk through the door because I was still in heavy depression at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew something was there. So, you know, these were not the postcards we started with, but I mean, we started with basic postcards. Why? Because it was accessible.
Right.
And I'm saying accessibility is very important because a lot of times we have these lofty ideas and we say to ourselves, like, look, I can do this when I have this. When I get this amount of money, I can start this business. I can do this when this happens. And we're looking for the perfect storm, just perfect circumstances, and they don't happen.
Yeah.
When in reality, you have to sometimes just act, make moves, and realize that when you jump, you're going to create the perfect circumstances. You're going to create the perfect environment. But while you're waiting, contemplating, thinking about something, nothing moves. It only gets worse. And so that little action of selling postcards, it opened the door up to say, you know what? We have something. And when you have something that you're working with, you have a different type of confidence, different type of swag that you can like lean into. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. And when we moved to Louisville in June of last year, I told my daughter, I said, listen, we're going to go out and find somewhere to vend at. And we're going to sell these postcards. And so found a spot called Millionaire Marketplace. Give all thanks to them. And the community in Louisville has been absolutely phenomenally supportive, loving, encouraging. I have so much love for the city of Louisville, the people that pushed me to become an artist. But ultimately, we had to go out there and hustle. And we're hustling what we had. And so while I was trying to figure things out, I was bringing my daughter with me every time I went. Because I'm like, you're going to figure this out too. And I told her, I had this realization that, you know, you think you're asking for $5. You know, you think you're selling something for $5, but you're not selling anything. For one, you're just simply offering a product, let people see what you have, and then you're asking for $5.
Right.
Seems like a small little thing, but I told her, I said, listen, if you ask for $5, you can ask for $5 million. It's the same thinking. We're exchanging energy. The energy it took me to put this into paper, and I'm asking for that energy that people had to make that money. I'm asking for that in exchange.
Right.
And so this is the process, a part of the hustle right there. We are manifesting the life that we want on a daily basis through our artwork. And so that led to so we went from postcards, and I saw a brother named Corey out there selling his books. And I was like, you sell books? He was like, yeah. I was like, I have a book. But, you know, I didn't have the confidence to tell people even about it. So I made this whole book called Read and Vend, told nobody about it. And I remember seeing him selling his books. I said, you know what? I'm going to order copies of my book. And 2 weeks later, I had to chase down the UPS truck on a Saturday morning before, they were closed. And I had to call these folks, chase down the truck, pick up 25 books. I'm thinking to myself, ain't nobody going to want to buy these books. This is stupid. This is stupid, right? Hey, I got these 25 copies. First book sold out in a day. I said, oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So sorry for rambling like that, but you know, we got to sometimes just make action. Don't overthink it.
That's facts. And I love how you brought out how it came about. So the book, the coloring, the coloring books were not the original idea. It started off with postcards. And I thought that was really powerful because, for example, when I started Natural Woman magazine 10 years ago, I did all I had. I just knew when the idea came to me, I ain't never been social or nothing in my life until it was when I had the name of a Natural Woman magazine, it was just everything like, yes, you need to do it. But I ain't had no cameras. All I had was my kid's desktop computer. I had the knowledge of how to do Microsoft Publisher, and that was it. I never went to school for publishing. I didn't have no team, but I knew how to start. And as soon as I started,
right,
everything started opening up and working for me. I didn't know how it was going to work out. So that's very, very true, especially when we out here trying to find our hustles and build our empires. You got to start with what you have and be practical. You don't got to have everything in place because it, like you said, it's never going to happen. And it's going to make stuff worse. Like you got to start with what you have, use what you have, and everything else is just going to meet you along the way. And that, you know, that right there is what separates the true hustlers from everybody else who just out here just wistfully
got a good idea.
Yeah,
I got a good idea. I don't care about your good idea. I don't care about your good idea. You know, and it's like in the movie Black Panther 2, Neymar, he said something. Don't quote me on it completely, but he said the how is not as important as the why.
Right.
And I mean, if you have your vision in front of you, once you start making steps towards it, the universe opens up completely. Your why is more important than how it's going to happen. The how will reveal itself. The how will completely reveal itself. But most people are stuck, blocked behind the how it will happen. They don't worry about how it happens. Just make your moves towards it. It will happen. God willing, it's going to happen. It's a good concept, good idea. If you work it, it will work.
Right.
People don't understand that. They really have these excuses in front of them. They block their own blessings. And it's like when you see somebody out here who has found the cheat code to life, these life hacks. The cheat code to life is simply do what you want to do. That's it.
That's it.
As long as you're not messing anybody else up, you can pretty much do whatever you want in this world. But we get stuck behind these rules that we've been conditioned to take on. And that is the illusion. The illusion was are these blockages. The reality is we have the ability to manifest whatever we want. And it's happening for my life, for your life, and for people that's in that hustle mode. Like it's happening. So
wow.
Yeah, my bad. I get a little excited about it, but I love it.
I love it. I love the conversation. So tell me, let's dive into this creation right here. What are we looking at?
So all right, what is, and I don't know if you guys can kind of see it, is that when it came to the coloring books, it's more than a coloring book. And I'm gonna show some pages and stuff like that. It's more than a coloring book, right? It's games, activities, fun facts, information, philosophy, history. For the second one, I wrote a short story, as well as a workbook for the second and third book, and a playlist. So while you're listening to music, while you're coloring, it's about an immersive experience. And so each one has different themes that focus on what I've been going through the past 4 years. Weed and Zen is dealing with anxiety. Because of my ordeal, I dealt with heavy anxiety for 3 years. Hustle and Motivate, right, is about the fact that, look, once you get past your ordeal, you begin to see that you have a second life ahead of you. I had a second life ahead of me. And with that, I began to think about, what do I want from that life? Who do I want to be in that life? Where do I want to live in that life? What kind of money do I want in this new life? Like, you have to call this out and begin to think about, how do you manifest this? So the second book is about manifestation, and it's not just about magic. It's about the habits that we create on a daily basis. What habits do I have to manifest the vision that I want? Now, the third book, Bad and Bushido, this one is a samurai philosophy with an anime aesthetic. Personally, my favorite. But what it's about is that we realize that we have these things that are holding us back. Fear, doubt, lack of confidence, whatever it is. And once you begin to realize that you are your biggest enemy, you have to go to war with yourself and defeat those things within you. And so Bad and Bushido is using that warrior, the energy, to say, I got to go to war with myself, not incorporate anime, incorporate, samurai culture, philosophy, this all type of different mashups within it, so that people can have an understanding, like, this is bigger than what you see. And I use all the quotes in the book come from different anime because a lot of it's very much inspirational, motivational. Like you getting pushed to the next level. So every time he's watching Goku, Dragon Ball Z, and all that Super Saiyan, you saw these folks having to go through their stuff and then like rise up to the challenge over and over and over and over again. And it's a metaphor for our life. You have to rise up to the challenge. You have to build yourself up, improve, discipline yourself. You got to go off by yourself. You got to do a lot of things within yourself internally in order for you to the next level. But ultimately, you got to defeat the weakness of yourself. So that's what Bad and Bushido is about. So each one has different themes. Each one has different subjects that are independent of each other, but they are made to push all of us to our next and higher level.
What I liked about when I looked through the book is it was like each, I don't know if you like section everything off, but you had like it was like work to do, but it was like good work. You know, it was affirmations to go to each one. It was something that you can color for each one. It was like some type of journal entry log where you have to think about, you know, your thoughts or plans and write them down. And then he had the QR codes where you can listen to the music that kind of hits the vibe to what it is you want to listen to, which I thought was super dope. So I'm like, yo, you just really combined, like, I'm all for technology and the advancement of technology, but I also feel like we got to balance the technology with, you know, we still got to read, we still got to color. What you're doing right now kind of puts all that together where technology can be involved, but then you're also tapping into those things like coloring and reading the things that's happened to the subconscious, because if we want to change anything about ourselves or change our habits, you got to tap into that subconscious mind. So I love how you really put thought into each coloring book to help people target those specific areas. And I thought that was just really, really dope. You mentioned that the books kind of like helped you. What did they help you in that journey? If you can answer that.
Absolutely. So it's like this. You know, people ask me all the time, do I color? And the weird thing is I don't really have any urge to color at all. Because I make the books. I get my energy kind of out when I'm making the books, you know? But the dope thing about making the books is not that I'm an expert at any of this stuff at all. What I am is a person who's going through life and has kind of beat down like the rest of us. And while researching the books, what I'm going to put in there, the content, it's really me learning about the subject matter that I need for my own life at that point. I needed to deal with anxiety and let things in the past go. I needed to do that, hence Weed and Zen. I needed to imagine my new life because I basically died and I, you know, was resurrected. And I mean that like not like some type of like biblical sense, like literally I got hit by a car and like almost died. And my life shattered, it crumbled. So that life I had before fell apart. So I had to mourn that life, but I also had to let that go. So hence I say my new birthday is on July 26th. I'm like 4 years old now. It's crazy. But I needed to let that go. I need to manifest a new life. So I'm reading my manifestation. I'm like, I don't really care for TikTok and all this stuff too much, but I was on TikTok and I would like be eating lunch. I was got into manifestation TikTok. And I opened up all these ideas and concepts because this is what I really needed at the time. And I still want, and I'm working it out. And then ultimately, once I started to recognize I have this manifestation in front of me, I needed to figure out what was holding me back. So the fun part is researching and writing the books. So that I have a better understanding of what it is I need to do. I'm not your expert. I'm your guy who's gone through some stuff and made it to the other side. And a lot of us are going through stuff and we don't understand that it's a test. It's an initiation. If you make it through the worst time of your life and come out on the other side and make a choice that you're going to be okay, you're given a gift. I never did any of this before. I never did any of this stuff before. But the gift I was given was this to work with. So you make a sacrifice. You got to sacrifice your pain, sacrifice your laziness, sacrifice your doubts, sacrifice your fears, sacrifice even sometimes people that's holding you back. I sacrifice all that. On the other side, what you get is discipline. On the other side, what you get is talent. On the other side, what you get is opportunity. But you got to let things go. So I had to let those things go, not knowing that this is what I was going to get in return.
Mm, that's powerful. That's some hustle and motivate for that ass. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about where can we like are the books on sale online? Do we need to find you at events? Are they in bookstores? How can we go out and cop these books?
So first and foremost, yes, the books are on Amazon. The books are at inflywetrust.com. That's my personal website for the business.
Okay.
The books are Useless to Splash on Sycamore Street in Cincinnati, Ohio. The books are at Cosmic Gorilla in Over the Round as well. The books are also at a Nat and Joy's on Vine Street. So they're at a couple different locations in Cincinnati. And then in Louisville, we have the books at Soul Unalome on First Street. So we're kind of getting out there, and soon the books are going to be at Joseph Beth Bookstore as well. So it's happening. This thing is happening. It's growing. So hopefully by a certain point, it's going to be in many more places. I'm just now getting to the retail space and kind of understanding what that looks like, what that's about. But for real, we've been hustling on these streets, y'all. I promise you, I'll pull up and hop out with some stuff in the trunk, like Master P in the 90s type stuff, and we pushing paper, we pushing the books out. So straight up, I should always have books on me. If you see me out, like holler at me, I'm gonna have something with me. And I would love if you support this business.
Right. And I think this is an amazing business to support because it's like it helps you get that work done. It's like it's some self-help stuff. Like a lot of us aren't the best journalers or the best meditators or the people, a lot of us need direction on how to go in, but the concept with this book and the activities that go along with it, it helps you to dive into those things that you are wanting to dive into, especially when it comes to healing. And then I love how each book is themed for something specific. So the volume 1 is the mindfulness and meditation and marijuana. And then the number 2 is the hustle and motivate. So that's all about manifesting. And then the third one, what's the third one? The Bushido.
Adam
Bushido. Okay, so that's kind of going against what your lower self and the higher self, or kind of bring the lower self in alignment with the higher self.
Absolutely, you got to defeat the weakness. This is to me, that's my favorite book, and I've realized that each book has a different audience that's more receptive towards it.
Right.
Adam Bushido, a lot more men gravitate towards that one. It's not the rule, but just a lot more men gravitate towards it. Hustle and motivate, a lot more women gravitate towards it. But I mean, I think we need all of it in order to push ourselves forward. And so, it's kind of like this. This is what and I'm saying this, not that it was a conscious type of thing, okay? It's that sometimes the Most High is going to use you in ways you ain't think that you're supposed to be used. And recognize this. A lot of our people are dealing with depression. A lot of people are dealing with heartache. A lot of people dealing with poverty mindsets. We're going through stuff. But if you give that person a big, thick book by like Carl Jung dealing with the shadow self, they're not going to look at it, more than likely, right? Right. But what is so powerful about like Hustle and Motivate, and specifically what Nipsey Hussle was doing, okay? That's why I named my book Hustle and Motivate in homage to that brother, is that he was basically telling you these rules to make things happen. He was telling you things to do to get it going. But he put it in a manner that was digestible to the average person. My coloring books, to me, I believe that they can be just as valid as any thick psychiatric book and everything like that. Or put in a manner that people can kind of digest. This is the Trojan horse, right? We know what we got to do, but we may not make those efforts because it is easy to stay in uncomfortable situations because it takes no thought process. But in order for you to get to your next level, you have to be strategic, or even just have to be consistent. So I think, even talking about like, how do we make these moves, right? People ask me all the time, like, hey, you've been in Louisville for a year. How have you done all these things? I was the artist in residence. I had my first solo gallery show that is still up. Like I've been, we sold, books. Like things are happening. How did this happen? I think the biggest part is, first of all, is do your work. Do it privately. You gotta let everybody know what's going on. Not that you worry about hating, but more so you don't get distracted.
Exactly.
Do the work. Do the work. Don't worry about anybody else. Second, and this is huge, is showing up.
Already, y'all.
But so show up and be consistent. Show up and be consistent. Show up and be consistent.
Yeah.
So many artists are not consistent. They make art when they feel like it. They do things in entrepreneurship. We do things when we feel like it.
Right.
So you have to show up and be consistent. Put yourself in space that you normally would not have been at, and wonder who you're going to meet. Like I saw Aziza. I wouldn't have been on this interview if I hadn't showed up to the Afro Swag, a beautiful, dope event by Sweet Sister Splash. I wouldn't have been there, and I wouldn't have met you again. So we have to show up, be consistent, be out there, and then also consistently create. Be about your business. Be about it in the most excellent manner. Do not worry about perfection. You see my first book, sometimes I cringe at it. Because I look at the imperfections. I look at, I did this wrong. This is blurry. Oh my God, it's messed up. But I have a saying that says, do it the first time, improve it the second time.
Right.
Do it the first time, improve it the second time. We get so caught up in the idea of perfection that we never start. We have a fear of being rejected. And I'm going to tell you right now, do not worry about who doesn't like you or your products or your services. Because I'm going to tell you, most likely, they will not comment on your page. They don't exist. They won't buy your stuff. Don't worry about them. I make art for people that love my work and receive my work.
Right.
That's who I'm. And so consistency, getting out there, showing up, doing the work, you're going to find success. And we're only at the ground floor, and I've been extremely humbled by the reception that we have received in Louisville and now Cincinnati.
Yeah, I definitely see a lot of great things in the works for you. And y'all, I told him before this interview I was going to ask him 3 tips. He already gave y'all these tips. Like, do you got 3 tips for us before?
Man, absolutely.
He gave, okay, I'm going to ask you the 3 tips. But I hope y'all had a pen and paper because he gave y'all so much game. So much game. So before we wrap up, tell us, where can we find you at next? Where are you showing up to next? How can we support? What events you got coming up?
I don't even know where I'm coming up next. Okay, I'm gonna let you all know. I've been in Cincinnati. Like I figured out. Like last weekend, I found 4 days of hustling: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday, I was in Louisville. Friday, I was in Delhi, Cincinnati, like at an event. Saturday, Sweet Splash, and Sunday we were in Chicago with my girls. Like, we out there. We out here.
Right.
And we continue to grow and continue to go places. So where are we going next? I'm not sure. But this is part of the adventure, and it may be kind of crazy. But at the same time, though, is this. You're going to look back on this time of your life, and you're going to be grateful for this time where you had to hustle, where you didn't know what was going to happen, where the money was inconsistent, but you kept going. You were learning so much about yourself during this time where it's so much uncertainty.
Right.
We are blessed to say that, we are still in business. Our business is growing. I'm working with a number of different groups and people and trying to figure out how we can collaborate, how we can grow this thing. It's about collaboration, not competition. And, if anything, if you see me out, holla at me. So I don't know where we're going to be out next. I'm still trying to figure out the schedule and the calendar, but we're going to be out there. That's all I do know.
All right. Well, there's the website, guys. Make sure y'all check out WW and Fly We Trust. Cop your coloring books. Get all 3 of the volumes. Support. Be out. Make sure if you got to sign up on the website, sign up so you can be in touch with what he has going on. So, Brandon, give me your 3 tips to success, because you gave us so many tips throughout this whole entire interview. So many jewels dropped. But give us your 3 tips to success that you can pass back to the next person trying to get to where you are today.
Absolutely. 1, get over yourself. 2, do the work. 3, show up. Watch what happens. And 4, quit making excuses. There's no competition. It's all mental. It is all mental. It's all an illusion. There's no competition. You compete with yourself. Collaborate, share information, find other people doing the exact same thing as you. It doesn't matter. If any artist I talk to, I say, hey, where's your coloring book at? That's what I ask them. Where's your coloring book at? So it's all about how do we work together, how do we grow this thing out, how do we push each other, how to support each other. Be that person that you want in your life. You want supportive people in your life, be a support. You want good people in your life, be good. You want hustlers around you, hustle. And that's my tips right there. And it may seem like I'm very simplistic, but it works. I'm living proof. I'm manifesting the whole life that I'm looking for right now, and it's magnificence. And I promise you, I want to be traveling. I want vacations. I want money. I want some brunch. And I'm gonna find a wife, all the above, and we are gonna live our best life. So watch out.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Hold on, son, just walking in here, about to come to the camera. Boy, chill out. All right. No, man, you answered everything perfectly. And everybody who's watching this live, this was pre-recorded just because y'all know it's holiday season and I got a lot of stuff to do today. But I did not want you guys to miss another episode of Hustle and Motivate. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to pre-record an episode and make it live. So y'all know normally we go live, and I'm definitely going to bring Brandon back on because I know y'all got some questions to ask him right now because he's just dropping so many jewels. But Brandon, I just thank you so much for just taking the time, sharing your project and your work with us. You actually dropped jewels that I needed to hear to kind of help redirect my mind. Like, you know what? Stay on the hustle, stay focused on what it is you want. You are attracting everything that's coming your way, the good and the bad. So if you want more of the good, keep on that vibe of the good. If you want more of the bad, keep staying where you're at. So I definitely appreciate that. Again, give us your website and where we can purchase your merchandise.
www.inflywetrust.com. And if it's okay, I'm going to actually I'm going to do a little promo for you all that throughout the holiday season. I'll send Aziza a promo code, and you guys can use that for a discount on. We'll have books, postcards. We got T-shirts now. It's crazy. And we got we have canvas that you put in your living room, put in your house and stuff. All motivational, all inspirational. Man, this is about making them move. So love the support. Y'all holla at Aziza. She's been doing the work for 10 years strong. I love what she's been doing. And I'm so grateful that she's allowed me to be on the show. This is a testament of where we're coming from. So we went from nothing to something, and now we're on Hustle Motivate podcast series with Aziza Nubia. Like, give thanks.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Brandon. And be sure, give me that promo code. We'll definitely add it to our email blast. If y'all haven't signed up for the email blast, make sure you go to naturalwomanmagazine.com. Sign up so you can be in touch with our newsletters, when the magazine drops, and then you can also support all of the other businesses that we support. But you all know this is another episode of Hustle and Motivate. We will be back next Wednesday with another session, another motivational period to just motivate all the hustlers. Again, Brandon, thank you so much for being a part of my show tonight. But until next time, y'all, peace.
Thank you.